Hello, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Tweet, where I go into the full story behind whatever I put on Twitter in 280 characters or less. This tweet's from this weekend. It kind of blew up. Here it is. 9-year-old. Why do we have to dress up for church? Me. To show God we have our act together. 9. But he knows we're lying. Oh, does he ever. I always feel bad showing up to church. Like, I feel like such a hypocrite. More of a hypocrite than usual. I mean, let's face it. We all know I'm a bad person. But I feel like a really, really bad person on church days just because of the logistics that go into getting 4 kids dressed up and into a building where they can sit and be quiet for an hour. Like, none of these things appeal to my children. Okay, the dressing up part does, just not in a timely fashion. They love wearing fancy dresses. They just don't want to put them on when they're supposed to, and they want it to take about 55 times longer than it should. You would not think it would take a long time. I mean, a dress is one piece of clothing. I mean, it's half as many pieces of clothing as wearing a shirt and pants separately. We removed half of the steps. Somehow, it makes it 10 times more complicated because you have to go through and pick out exactly what they want. Betsy and May have a closet that's 2-layered because they're short, so we could put, one layer of clothes on top of the other, but they can't get the clothes from on high, so I have to get in there and sort through them like I'm their personal shopper as they point and say, no, not this one, that one. So it's a big process, which would naturally prompt these questions. I don't think this one is an exact quote, but definitely the spirit is there because they do kind of wonder why we put on this big show. Who are we trying to impress exactly? I'm not really sure. I don't know that we're trying to impress anyone because, one, we're not going to fool God or any other deity because if they are all-knowing, they are definitely going to know that we are putting on a very elaborate fraud here. We do not have our act together in any way, shape, or form. In fact, quite the opposite of that. And on church days, we're 10 times more stressed out than any other day because we have just gone through this process of getting the kids dressed up, and then we try to keep them in a confined space and keep them from killing each other. And anytime you put them together in one pew, that's, the first thing they want to do. This last week, 3 of them were pretty good, and Waffle went nuts. So, they compensate. It's the yin and the yang. I think there's just a set amount of chaos that the 4 children have to generate. And if one of them steps up to the plate and is going to be absolutely horrendous, the other 3 can take the day off and just kind of chill. But if nobody steps up and throws that epic temper tantrum, then they all kind of have to be, low-key awful. So they work it out among themselves. There's definitely a balancing act going there. Very seldom do all 4 of them go ballistic, though. Usually if they're going to go ballistic, it's just one, and that takes care of it for everybody else. So I've learned this. I developed this entire theory while sitting there in church. Probably should have been paying attention, but instead I guess I was studying sociology and becoming a better parent. That's what we'll say I was doing. That's got to be some sort of religious goal, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I paid attention that closely. Hey, I went to a lot of years of Catholic school. It's okay for me to zone out now. I've earned this. I think we are tricking ourselves into believing that we have accomplished something worthwhile here. Because, again, we can't fool a deity. We're not fooling anybody else in that church because they can see how our kids act, or how at least one of them acts. They can see the constant push and pull there going on. They can see the 95 trips to the bathroom. Nobody has to go to the bathroom like a kid sitting in a church pew. It's their get out of jail free card for 5 minutes at a time, and they exercise it liberally. So we're not fooling the church ladies, we're not fooling the people around us, but I think we're fooling ourselves. We've convinced ourselves that if we can put this together, one day a week, if we can get to a place on time, dressed up, and kind of sit there like a cohesive family, like we're all reasonably functional human beings, then we've accomplished something as parents and as a family. Have we really accomplished something? Absolutely not. But we do it anyway. Kind of like how that criticism of, well, why are you dressed up for men? I'm not dressed up for men. I'm dressed up for myself. That being something, women might say, not that I particularly say it. I don't dress up for men or anybody else. But the idea is that when you get dressed up, you don't dress up to impress somebody else. Sometimes you just dress up for yourself. So that's what we're doing here. We are dressing up to impress ourselves and convince ourselves that we are competent adults who are capable of caring for reasonable children. And maybe if we tell ourselves that lie enough times, it will be true. Or maybe not. Anyway, this has been another episode of Behind the Tweet. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. I am trying to put out videos every day. Sometimes they're of me interviewing the kids. Sometimes they're of all of us playing. Sometimes they're just of me describing what's behind the tweet. Sometimes it's me staring blankly at the camera trying to creep you out. I haven't done one of those lately or ever, but it's coming. Just you wait. Anyway, hit that subscribe button. Later.